Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to talk about fetching data from external API and speaking it out through the Alexa to the users. This is an upgraded version of an old video which I have done on the same topic, which is using the Alexa SDK version 1. Now, this is using the Alexa SDK, the next or the latest version. There are quite a few differences in the way how we use the SDKs. I will post the link to my old video as well as the new video which I talk about the changes in the SDK, the newest SDK, the code editor, as well as how to create a skill using the newest SDK. So you can go and watch that before jumping into this. Without further ado, let me explain what I am going to try here. So in this skill, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to take an input from the user, which is actually a sentence, and try to make a funny translation out of it. What does that mean? So I have this API over here called Fun Translations API. What this API does is when you tell a sentence to this API, it will reply back in using some themes. Basically, for example, you have Yoda theme, pirate, pig Latin converter, etc. So let me show you one sample. For example, if I hit this API, what the sentence we gave was like Master Obi-Wan has lost a planet. And if we hit that, this is what you get. The translator would be like lost a planet, Master Obi-Wan has. The way Yoda talks in the Star Wars series or the movies. So that's what it does. Similar to that, you have pirate translator. Let's see what just the pirates say. If I click that, ahoy, like using the pirate words, something translates out. So this is what we are going to try in this video. This is the same thing which I tried previously also, but this time I'm going to use the Alexa SDK version 2. Okay, step 1, let's look at the interaction model. So in the interaction model, you of course have the invocation name, and here I have like couple of indents, set endpoint and get translation. In the set endpoint, I'm trying to get the choices of the user. For example, I am supporting three versions, a Yoda, Pirate, and Minion. So I am asking the user, like, what is your choice? Whether you want to hear a Yoda translation or Pirate or Minion. So that's what happens in this endpoint. And sample utterances would be like either the choice that is being given, or like this, my choice is Yoda, something like that. So here you can see like this particular piece is within curly braces. That is because this is something called slot. So slots are something which is like dynamic, when which you get the value from the user, or it's an option which will be filled in by the user, like some value which is being collected. So some values which is being passed over, it can be a result or something like that. So it is like you can consider it as a changing value. Here I am giving them an option like Yoda, Pirate, or Minion. So either of this becomes a valid answer. And and how to create a slot. So if you just type with curly brace and type something like my test slot, so here you will get an option. Okay, you can either select one existing slot or you can create a new slot. So let me add this as a new slot. So I click add, and if I now I need to select a slot type. So there is no, this is a custom slot that we are going to create. So if you go down here, the slot types, you can add a slot type. So let me give the same name, my test slot. And what here the system expects is a list of possible values. Like, okay, I can give like test good, something like that. This is just for demo purpose. So what this means is, like, if you define a slot in your endpoint, and these would be the possible options that user would, from the user the slot expects. That's what it says. So we don't need it. I'm just deleting it. Yeah, let's delete. I mean, yeah. So let me show, like, okay, what is there in my endpoint slot. If you go and see my endpoint slot, you can see like the possible values are minion, pirate, and Yoda. So whenever the question is being asked, and if the user says Yoda, minion, or pirate, then what happens is the value which the user told gets filled in this endpoint, and you can read it in your code what user has input. Okay, so that's what this set endpoint does to get the user preference. And get translation is our main function which translate a sentence which is told by the user. So here the sample utterance would be like translate and a sentence. So here the thing is like Alexa doesn't support uh, arbitrary sentence. You cannot just say a sentence and get something triggered. So that's why I have added this keyword which would trigger our special intent and takes whatever value comes after this as the value to be used. Let's say if you say like translate and then Master Obi-Wan has lost a planet, then whatever comes after translate would be taken as the slot value. And here I just gave some random text, doesn't matter. And you have like, I have also put a translate also, so that the word matches and it gets selected. So that's all with the interaction model and the slots. Then there are the fallback, cancel, help, stop, and navigate home is not required. So I just put like one word utterances here, like stop, help, cancel, etc. So that's all with the interaction model. So let's look at the code or the core logical implementation. So here I am going to show like this is the new code editor of Alexa, and this uses Alexa SDK version 2, and I have the old implementation which uses the first version of the Alexa SDK. And you can see the difference, like you can see the launch request is being used like this in the old format, old SDK, but it's mostly changed. See, so you have few methods like can, handle, handle, and handler input, the way the values have been returned. So the handle function always returns something, but in the other case, like you can decide when to emit or when to say the response. So that's up to you to tell. So that's how it looks like. If you want to refer, I will post the link to this file also, if you want to see how the code has worked using the Alexa SDK version 1 or the previous, the first version. Yeah, okay, so let's see the code. So these are few constants which is being defined, like some of them are like skill name, help messages, stop message, more, and some fallbacks. So I will talk about fallback a bit later. This is just to manage this session, like to make sure the system handles all types of responses for a question that's being asked, and system will handle, let's say for example, if we expect Yoda, minion, and pirate, either one of them as an answer to find my first question, what happens if the user says like, okay, translate, then our system should be intelligent enough to understand, okay, in this, for this question, this is not a valid answer. So that's why you are doing this fallbacks. This is being explained in one of my other video where we talk about mostly on the session attributes. So I will post the link to that also. Please have a look at that. And we have some service endpoints here which says like Yoda JSON, Pirate JSON, Minion JSON. So we will append this to the query parameter once the user makes a choice. These are to handle the app states or the session attributes. So this is being explained in my other video. Please have a look at that. And this is the base endpoint, api.funnytranslations.com. So launch handler just does a welcome message and ask the user to set an endpoint. So in this set endpoint handler, this is how you get the endpoint value, which is given by the user. Let's say if the user says like Yoda, you get the value here, and using that value, you will just, I have written all convenience function. So you get the name, let's say Yoda, whatever is the case, you just make it as a lowercase and set the endpoint, current endpoint, to either Yoda, pirate, or the minion API. So now the endpoint is set. So next step is like to implement the translation handler. So in the translation, this is where the major change happened. As you can see, right, in the newest SDK, the handle call has to return something. So if you, and most of the API calls are like asynchronous and you get the value after some time. So if you do return pretty fast, there won't be any translation happening. So that's why you have to implement the async await operation here. So you tell that, okay, handle function has some asynchronous stuff inside. So we are asking it to wait till the HTTP function gets executed, and await always returns a future. So let's see before that, let's check how the request is being prepared. So you got the sentence from the user through the slot value. So here you get the sentence, like user told, like translate followed by a sentence. So you got the sentence here. So using that sentence, you're going to construct an API path. So this would be like, this is similar to that translate yoda.json and the sentence that is being told. So we are just constructing the path over here. So that is our query value. That is what we are going to query, and then we pass the query to the HTTP GET. And here we are using a package HTTPS. So you have to require HTTP. So you have to require the HTTP package for this. Yeah. So in this function, you are returning a promise. So here we make the API request. So you set the host as API translation. The method is going to be get, and we pass in the query. And after the response has been completed, we use the JSON parser to parse the data, and we'll take the translated value. So if we see here, the response will have two things: success, which says the status, Then the contents contain translated and the text which we send and the translation type, and we are interested on the translated value. So we just get the translated value and send it back as a response to our await http get call. And once we get the response, you just construct the data. Like I just made some words here. Yoda, I mean endpoint speech name, which is Yoda, says, then the response. And a more like, okay, if you want to translate more sentence, just say this again, like. So that's all it's about. So the core area for http which changed is this one. You have to have an asynchronous call which returns a promise, and you can use this http. You can use any kind of package, so I just used http. Maybe you can use express, something like that. Yeah, what else? Okay, now let's do a round of test. So go to the test simulator. So I'm doing open funny translations.
Hello, welcome to Funny Translations. Please choose the translations to use from the following list: Yoda, Pirate, Minion.
So here you have been given a choice, and let's say what happens if we give a wrong choice. This is where the session attributes, the session management and the fallback comes in place. So I'm going to give like David.
The Funny Translation skill can't help you with that. Please choose the translations to use from the following list: Yoda, Pirate, Minion.
So it asks you again like, okay, I cannot handle David, I don't know David. Okay, please select from something in the list. So let me give the correct value now.
Okay, I will use your choice. Please say translate followed by a sentence to translate.
Okay, so I'm going to say like translate, my name is awesome. Now it hit
Yoda
the end.
says, awesome, my name is.
So you can see it's cool, like Yoda says, oh awesome, my name is. Yeah, so that's all what this skill does. So you can see it's like stop.
Enjoy the day. Goodbye.
Yeah, cool. That's so let's do a quick recap. So we use the latest Alexa SDK. We use this HTTP package, and what we use was like we use the async await mechanism to make the HTTP call work. So if you remove this async and await, what happens is like this function returns the moment it executes all these uh, lines of code, and it doesn't wait for the http query to return. So in the end what happens is the Alexa will say nothing. So that's why you need this way to do it, and I will put the source code in gist, and I will post the link here so you can go and check the code. Yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.